What's up, everybody? This is a brand new show that I'm doing from my music room. It's called Duo with the Dust. I am Dusty Carlson. This is my esteemed guest, the wonderful, the talented, the tenacious, the tubular, the totes good drummer, Kathryn Yuill.
Hi, everybody.
Kathryn Yuill. And first question, are we friends?
I think so.
You think so?
At this point, yeah.
Okay. Full disclosure, we've known each other for a while, right?
4 years, yeah. Right?
It's almost exactly 4 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Almost exactly 4 years. And where did we meet?
I guess at work. Right?
At work.
Yeah.
And what job was that?
The Air Force
The
Band.
Air Force Band.
Yeah.
Kathryn is the Academy drummer, newly claimed title.
Yes.
Technical Sergeant Select.
Yes. Not quite yet, but yeah.
Not quite yet, but what, in like a month or so?
Yeah, almost exactly.
Technical Sergeant Select Kathryn Yuill, drummer, percussionist for the United States Air Force Band. And we met at work because that was also my job up until recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did your 4 years.
I did my 4 years, and then I'm a veteran now. I got my beard. Was I a good airman, do you think?
I think you were.
I think I was all right.
Yeah, you were good.
I think I was all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tight framework. You got to exist in a very, very tight framework.
I think you have to, it's very rare where you see someone in the band who's not a good airman, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't last too long. But, I don't know. I did enjoy my time playing in the Air Force Band, but, if I think of it as the whole job is like a pizza pie. Mm-hmm. The music component was like a slice. There's a lot of other factors that you got to navigate around to with Air Force stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel like people figure out rather quickly whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then it's better than they don't stay in, because why stay in a job you don't like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of knew early on.
Yeah.
I kind of knew it right at MAPS. When I signed the paper, I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, at least you got 4 years of a constant salary, I guess.
Well, yeah, that was one of the good things. But without a doubt, the best thing, moved down here, St. Louis, from Chicago, and met my lovely wife. We have a house. I'm a St. Louis guy. So I think what I want to do with this podcast, and you are the very first guest.
Oh, I'm honored.
So we're experimenting here. I want to talk about just kind of St. Louis music, musician experience. I want to talk to the people that I share the bandstand with, from a musician's perspective. Because I just think it's weird, we live in this world where, there's not enough podcasts and content, right?
No, never.
So we need more. It just feels like the bigger cities like LA and New York have these, everybody's got a fucking podcast, right? But we're catching up. But I don't want to talk too much.
Yeah.
So this podcast is about music and beer. It's great things that I love, and the city of St. Louis loves. So, have you had any of my beer yet?
No.
Okay.
Is the podcast sponsored by this beer?
Yeah, it is. It's sponsored by Donkey Brew. Donkey Brew, and this is the dry Irish stout. I think I only have 2 bottles left. So, yeah. You said you just wanted a little bit?
Yeah. I don't drink beer that much anymore, but I still really, appreciate it. So.
Well, cheers. Look at that color.
I'm excited.
Let me just get in there.
That's really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
I actually, in the winter, drink a lot of stouts.
For sure. I don't know why I made it in the summer. I just wanted
No,
to
this is
experiment.
really good. And you brewed this, at your house.
I brewed it right here.
Wow.
This was my first all-grain batch. So.
I don't know what that means, but.
So, think about you're baking a loaf of bread. Mm-hmm. You can either buy flour at the store, bring it back, and just use it, or you can get the wheat and like dry it and mash
Oh.
it. The all grain, you're essentially doing that. So you get all the grains, the malts and stuff. You mill them, and you kind of make, it's like making a big batch of tea. Like I put it in a mesh bag and put in like 6 gallons of boiling water, and I just let it do its thing and extract all the sugars from the grains.
So what makes this, and like, what was special about to make it an Irish stout?
I got this recipe from this book called Clone Brews. You ever been to Ireland?
No, unfortunately.
Okay. You'll get
I want
there.
to.
You'll get there one of these
someday.
days. In Ireland, they had this beer called Murphy's Irish Stout. It's kind of like their local Guinness. They brew it in Cork.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best beers I've ever had.
This is very good.
So I got that recipe. It's supposed to be modeled after the Murphy's Irish Stout.
I don't know if I've ever had Murphy's, but I would
Yeah,
definitely drink this again.
It doesn't really get over here. It's pretty on par to like a Guinness Irish Stout. But very good. I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
And I just brewed a batch of German wheat beer.
So when will that be ready?
Probably, hopefully right in time for October.
Oh.
It's like going to be Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
Aaron's parents are throwing this big Oktoberfest party.
Yeah, I've seen
And I just kind of
pictures
want to be out there just pouring homebrews and shit.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Plus, it's also kind of coincides with this project because I'm doing that beer program at SLU. So.
Yeah. How long is that for?
Until the end of the year. It's a good program. All the teachers are St. Louis like brewmasters.
Yeah.
So the class I just had was taught by Stephen Hale, who basically founded Schlafly.
Oh.
And now I'm in this class. It's all sensory, so it just teaches you how to drink beer, like really like be a beer judge, like smell it, like I'm getting hints of bittersweet chocolate or
It's like those people that do that with
like
wine.
sommelier.
Yeah,
but
sommelier. Yeah.
in the beer world, it's called Cicerone.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'm kind of involved in that right now. So every time I go out, I end up getting like the little
And you like
snifters.
smell them and
Yeah.
swish them around.
Like this one, like definitely
No, I'm curious.
getting aromas of. I get a lot of bittersweet chocolate. Some kind of like toasted grains, right? It's dark, but you can kind of see through it. You know, I've had darker stouts and taste. I still get a lot of chocolate and like kind of coffee, like a dry Irish stout would have.
I'd say that you're well on your way.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. So, the Academy, Colorado. When are you moving?
A month from now.
1 month from now.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know when this is going to come out, but we have a gig tomorrow.
Yes.
Is this going to be your last gig?
Here, yes.
We don't need it from anybody who's going to be there.
Yeah.
Is gonna be...
It's fine. It'll be fun.
How do you feel about it?
It's definitely very bittersweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I transition from, being like excited for what's coming ahead, and then immediately I'm like, oh, this is actually also really sad. So
yeah, because I've been there. You wanted to get out. You were looking for. I would say like rewind a year ago. You were like, just give me. I want to try something new.
Yeah,
which is cool. I've been there, but you were almost going to Hawaii.
Yes.
And then you got this Colorado gig.
Yeah, so I essentially had to decide between Colorado and Hawaii.
Was it a tough decision?
It wasn't easy, I spent probably at least a weekend. I literally made a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
I still have it on my phone, and it was fairly even in certain parts. But in the end, this job comes with stability and a promotion and getting to live somewhere other than the Midwest for the foreseeable future, which would be nice.
And you just bought a house.
I'm under contract.
You're under contract.
Yeah. Got to go through all the inspections and stuff, but
that's exciting.
Yes.
That's really cool. I can't wait to come visit.
Yep, there's 4 bedrooms, so there'll definitely be a guest bedroom. So.
Nice.
And a nice backyard.
I think this is still running. Of course it is, right? Yeah, we're 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, you're at this point in your life where you lived here for like, what, 4.5 years?
Yeah, about.
And you cultivated a pretty good presence, like as a musician in this town over the course of those years. Like, I don't know, what were your thoughts on the whole experience, the St. Louis experience?
Yeah, I mean,
good and bad.
This, well, first of all, I love the city of St. Louis. I think there's so many beautiful things about it that I honestly didn't expect when I first moved here.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to expect. Yeah.
Same. I wasn't sure about it when I first moved here.
And then also, when it comes to music, this is the first time I've really spent being like a gigging musician.
Yeah.
Because I was in college, and then I barely played any drum set back then. And
so what did you do in college? Where did you go, and what did you do?
So I went to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities for my undergrad.
Okay, that's
classical percussion.
Minneapolis?
Yeah, Minneapolis. Okay. And then I went to Indiana University for grad school, and it was all in classical percussion.
You got a master's degree in classical percussion.
I did.
See, this is what, and I just got to give you, it's like sing your praises because, excuse me, I know that you got a master's in classical percussion, but when I first moved here and we started playing together, you were starting on drum set. It seemed like it was like for the first time. It was new, like you could kind of get around it a little bit, but certainly jazz was new. Playing in a rock band was new. And you just kind of, baptism by fire, were just thrown into it. Before, I just got to say, like, I've never really seen anybody pick up, like, grasp the whole jazz thing. And we're always learning. But you fucking came in and you were inquisitive. Like, you had a lot of questions, but you, like, really wanted to learn. And it seemed like any time anybody threw something at you, you're like, I don't care how long it takes. Like, it's gonna be great. And then the next time we would see you play, it was like you nailed it. And it sounded like you'd been doing it for years. That always blew my mind. You just kind of, and now you're kind of like you're like a first caller in town. You know, you're playing with like Kendrick.
I don't know if I'd say that, but
well, Kendrick and Bernard are calling you to do the gallery. They don't fuck around.
Yeah.
So, and when I saw you play with them, I was just thinking, man, how far have you come? Especially in the jazz. Never mind all the other stuff, but like in the jazz, not only were you able to kind of, you knew the vocabulary, you knew the vernacular, but you were like responding and like interplaying with everybody. It was really cool to see. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on your whole experience? Like, just getting thrown into it?
I mean, it's kind of shocking to look back when I first got here and see how far I've come.
Yeah.
And I mean, a part of the reason why, I feel like I've come so far is because of my background in classical percussion.
How so?
I feel like some of the techniques I learned about like practicing and listening and studying really added a lot to when I would practice jazz and when I would like play with other people, and the listening aspect, and I did so much of that. Specifically, I was playing a lot of timpani, and a big part of that is doing your homework and like listening to the music ahead of time and recording. Recording myself helped a lot. So
playing timpani and drums and
and everything. And then also it's a testament to the people that live here, because I feel like, I mean, I haven't lived many other places where I've been playing drum set, but I feel like here it's so welcoming, and like everyone, no matter how good they are, is still trying to learn. So like there's people always asking questions and are willing to come. Like in preparation for this Academy audition, I was having people over to jam in my dining room for weeks beforehand, and they, these killer players would come in and just be willing to play whatever I wanted for 2 hours. So it's just a testament to the people there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I will also say this about you. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I think that you have one of the most naturally gifted, like, funk pockets, like funk drum feels like I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
You know, because that was my big takeaway when I met you, and you said, "Oh, you have a master's in classical percussion," and I don't really play a whole lot of drum set yet, but I want to. It's like, okay, cool, and then you would sit down at the kit and just like lay it down. It was a sick groove, and that's why I was just like, well, yeah, I want to play with her as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for however long this lasts. It is good. It is bittersweet for me too. I mean, I don't want you to go, but I'm excited. So, where did you get? I mean, can you have anything to say about that? Like your funk feel? Like, is it from listening to certain types of music or bands?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Like I listen to a lot of Nate Smith.
Okay.
He's one of my favorite drummers.
I
And
don't
if
do
you
it.
know Nate Smith, yeah,
I
he's
don't do
also got an incredible like pocket and groove.
Probably one of the best.
Yeah.
Like out there.
So that probably had something to do with it, and just like playing along with his music, and also it just helped. Like again, playing with specific people here, like playing with you has always been so easy. Like sometimes I feel like you sit down, with a group, and you might not know the people very well, and so it might not gel right away. But I feel like playing with like you and other bass players around here that I play with, and other horn players, it's always been so easy. And Josiah,
Josiah,
guitar,
Joyce.
yeah.
I'm gonna do this with him.
Yeah, you should.
He's a wild man. He's
Yeah.
an alien. I love the guy. Such a good player. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you just had such a great natural funk feel, and I don't know, it just seemed like you've just been doing it forever.
I guess that's like one of my favorite stuff to play.
Me too.
Funk
Yeah.
and fusion, like, I really like playing Herbie Hancock stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, so
So is that what you want to do tomorrow?
I'm sure
we have a gig
tomorrow.
tomorrow. We have no idea what we're gonna play.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah, it'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. The music scene in St. Louis, it really is like incredibly welcoming, and there's great playing opportunities, and it doesn't really matter what you're into. Students, I kind of wish that I had grown up here a little bit, because I see these 16 and 17-year-olds just coming into these jam sessions and murdering.
Yeah.
Like murdering. It's like I didn't have that good of a grasp on it when I was 17.
And I also saw the other day, I don't know if you saw this, but Dave Weckl lives here now, and he's starting his own big band.
What?
Yes, and
Wow.
part of that big band is him bringing in these high school students to play in it. So
Very
it's,
cool.
Not only is it like some of the top players in the area, but they're also like, continuing to teach these students, which I think is amazing.
That really is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you know what you're going to be doing at the academy?
Music-wise, not yet.
Not yet.
I know what I'll be doing for my other jobs.
Oh yeah. Can you elaborate?
I'll be doing operations, so
Operations.
booking shows,
Booking the shows.
and tours, which I really like to do that stuff. So.
And where do you guys tour?
I think we tour all around the country.
All around the country.
Yeah, I think they're mainly based in, Colorado, New Mexico, Montana, the Dakotas, that kind of line. But they do go all around the country. So maybe I'll come back here for a tour.
Maybe you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just so excited for you. What are you hoping to do musically?
I'd love to be able to play more timpani again. Because I haven't done that.
Okay, coming back full circle.
Yeah.
I was going to say something. I had a thought because you were saying you did a lot of research when you were playing timpani. Because in orchestras and concert bands, like, timpani drives the ship.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come in not knowing your shit.
No.
and not playing confident. Because when a timpani comes in, it's just like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, if you mess up, they'll
You know,
know.
you're not playing like second violin,
No.
fifth, sixth chair. You're just like, oh yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah, you can't hide.
Just that. So how did you get into playing timpani? What called you to that?
It was actually in sophomore year. I think it was sophomore year of undergrad. We were doing The Rite of Spring by Stravinsky.
Okay. Yeah.
With the Joffrey Ballet, which I think they're from Chicago.
Wow.
And so
where'd you grow up?
Huh?
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, but this was while I was
What
in
town?
school in Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were what? This was your freshman year?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
So we were doing this, and our percussion instructor asked who wanted to play a timpani, and it's a really big timpani part. There's actually 2 timpanists that play.
Right, and you went into school as classical percussion.
Yes.
Okay.
So he asked who wanted to do it, and I said, no, I'd love to do it. And after that, I was kind of just hooked. Yeah.
That's what she does. She's just like, I'll fucking do it. Like, I'll play drums in a big band. Like, even though I don't really know much, but I'll learn it.
Yeah.
So you played The Rite of Spring. That was your first timpani piece?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
With an orchestra, yes. Mm-hmm.
That is a hard piece. Listen to that one. That's one so crazy. That one used to cause riots back in the day.
Yeah, and if for the timpanist, that's a part where if the timpani doesn't know what they're doing, the whole thing falls apart. So
right.
But it's great piece of music. So after that, I was kind of hooked.
That was okay. So out of the classical side of things, like whose music calls to you the most, like in the percussion world? Because there's a lot of really crazy classical percussion stuff, especially when you get into like the 20th century stuff.
Definitely Gustav Mahler.
Yeah. Any favorite symphonies?
I love Symphony Number 1. 2 is...
2 is my favorite.
Yeah.
2 is my favorite.
I really like 7. I haven't played 7 yet, but...
I don't think I've played 7.
Yeah, but definitely 1 and 2. And then for timpani, I actually really love Sibelius.
Sibelius?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cool percussion shit.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Berlioz has some crazy percussion.
Yeah.
What about me for classical?
Yeah.
So yeah, I did my undergrad in classical.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was playing. I think I got my I was playing in orchestra all throughout college, but I got the principal chair I think end of sophomore year, junior year.
Nice.
So I felt like it was the same with you. Like I had to study this shit.
Yeah.
And there's some pieces I don't think I've ever worked harder on on the classical side of things.
Yeah.
Because I would do orchestra, but I would also do the chamber stuff.
Yeah.
And we would do like the Tchaikovsky Serenade for Strings. I don't think I've ever worked on a piece harder than that. And something about Brahms. Brahms always had the coolest bass lines. Brahms to me seemed like felt like I was playing like Black Sabbath in the orchestra. You know, it was just really strong bass lines. And I think his dad was a bass player.
Oh.
So all of his music, the bass is very strong. I loved playing the classical shit, like the Haydns and the Mozarts. Even though it's a lot, boom, 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 boom. It was very fast and very technical, but really fun.
Yeah.
And Bach, of course. I tried doing all that shit, but my favorite, probably, I'm right there with you, with the Mahlers and the Berliozes and the Beethovens and stuff. Yeah.
So when did you make the switch over to more jazz?
Good question. I was kind of did it a little in high school. I played in a jazz combo all throughout high school and in the big band, but was also doing the wind ensemble and stuff. And then when I did my undergrad at Western. Wasn't too crazy about some of the jazz instructors there.
Western
Illinois.
Yeah.
And all the classical side of things where they were just like, oh, come over here, like it was great. Every teacher was from like a different country, and they were all very sweet, and I just found I loved playing in an orchestra. And I thought when I was doing my undergrad that I was just gonna get out of college and join an orchestra. Like, this was 2010, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I get out of college, I'm like, where are all these bass orchestra gigs? No, they're not there.
Yeah.
You know, or you got to be really good if there's a spot you're competing with people all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out and I moved to Oregon and was just kind of like, okay, I'm trying to be a musician, like full-time musician. What are the quick, easy paying gigs? It became the jazz gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh, you can play upright bass. Like, I got this jazz gig for $100. And all of a sudden I found myself paying bills, like playing jazz. So then I started really diving into it, like learning tunes. And I started taking like these jazz theory courses over at the community college.
Oh, okay.
And in the community college, the theory professor, they taught the class at night, but the guy was also the guitar instructor at University of Oregon.
Oh, okay.
So he's taking the classes and come in and bring our instruments, and he was kind of like, he's like, you can actually play. I'm like, yeah, I could play a little bit. And I knew they were having auditions for the master's program. I asked him, I was like, you guys are doing that right around springtime? He's like, yeah, you got a bachelor's degree? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, come on audition. Like, they set a special time for me.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah. And then I went and auditioned, and the jazz studies teacher, Steve, if you're listening, I know you just retired, and you're probably not listening, but what a great fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing dude. Came in, we didn't speak much, but I played a little bit, and he's just like, son, what do you want to do? I just said, I think I want to become the best fucking bassist at the time, like in the world.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, cool. And he gave me a full scholarship.
Wow.
At University of Oregon, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I was honest. Like, I knew a little bit, but I didn't have a jazz undergraduate. So I felt like I was a little bit behind, but I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
It was 2 years. It was probably one of the best 2 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was so nice being able to go over there. And I was also a teaching assistant, so I was helped teach out with the pop songwriting class.
Yeah.
And the jazz combos, like, for the younger kids. It was a fucking great time. Mm-hmm. And then the big band went to Europe. We were so rehearsed. I don't think I've been in a band that rehearsed that much. Like, we knew we were going to Europe in the summer.
Yeah.
And we all collectively just decided to rehearse for like 5 days a week for like 3 weeks. Just 5 hours a day, 5-6 hours a day, and just fucking killed it. Like, we were so tight. And then again, I got my jazz chops up. I thought I was gonna get out of school and just become like a professor or move to New York and just become a jazz bassist. But I got out of college. I had no fucking money. Just no money. I came out of grad school just broke as hell. It's like, I wasn't in debt, but I just had like $0.
Yeah.
And I said, I gotta make some money. So I went and worked on the cruise ships.
That's right, yeah.
Right out of college, I went and worked on the cruise ships.
That's always kind of interested me, but I think that ship has sailed.
It's definitely sailed. It sailed for me too. That's a young single person's game.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it when I did it. I only did it for 2 years. Some people like do it forever.
Yeah. I kind of wish, I would, right out of college, I would not have had the chops to do that, but
you'd be surprised. They'll take anybody. They really will. And that's why it was so tricky, because if you had, like, for instance, the ship band had 10 people in it, and maybe like the bass player and the drummer and the guitar player were really good, but then like the first trumpet was just sucked.
Yeah.
And everybody was always changing. It's the whole band doesn't come on at the same time. It's like this guy comes on, and then a couple months later, this guy or gal comes on,
Sounds like the Air Force Band.
Very much so.
Yeah, lots of movement.
Yeah, but this was more playing. This was like, all right, you're playing together for 4 nights or for 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Every day, 4 or 5 hours a day. So, if you don't like playing with somebody, you might be stuck next to them for about 10 months.
Yeah.
8, 9, 10 months. That's what happened to me.
Uh-huh.
It was great, but there's some people that you're just like, I can't fucking stand that alto player. Just shady
not
bastards.
much you can do, right?
No, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Just hopefully it's just like, get out of my way.
Yeah, just learn to live with it, I guess.
Yeah, it was a good time to travel though.
Oh yeah, that would be probably the most appealing part.
It
honestly.
Was.
Yeah.
It was. You have zero privacy.
Yeah.
It's just you live in like a room like it's like half the size of this room with another person.
I've been watching this trash. I don't watch a lot of trash TV.
Oh yeah.
But I've been watching Below Deck. Have you heard about that?
I've seen it on Amazon's trying to tell me to watch it, but explain, please.
It's so it's a reality TV show, and it is about people who work on like a super luxury yacht. So
like a billionaire's yacht.
Oh yeah, like these people who rent out these yachts, they're paying for like 10 crew members and a captain and engineers and then a chef, and they're shelling out $200,000-$300,000 for one weekend. And then on top of that, each of these people gets tipped like $2,000.
So these people, how long do they live on the boat for?
A whole summer.
A whole summer.
Yeah, but it's like you were saying, it's very close quarters. Like it's literally a room less than half this size.
Yeah. And
there's bunk beds and then a bathroom and that's it.
And the show's a show because probably everybody bangs each other, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, they get in fights, Just
like cruise ship life. Nobody goes to work on cruise ships or those type of jobs if their life on land is just awesome.
Oh yeah.
Nobody does. Everybody is just damaged goods, And I would say 90% of the people that worked on ships, and this is like, just got out of a bad relationship, got to get the fuck out of town, make some money.
Yeah.
I met some people that said that they owed money to like the mafia.
That's
like,
one way to do it. Is
it's just like I gotta get out of town
yeah.
and just get out on the ocean. Like you meet all kinds.
I bet that's fascinating though.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all these cultures just mixed together.
Wow.
In a little tin can.
Yeah, that's cool.
Floating around, drinking, adding
Probably
alcohol
a lot of
to it.
drinking. Yeah.
That's all you did.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything to do except get off the boat and drink.
What was
or
the
stay on the boat.
food like for the crew?
It was okay. Sometimes it was okay.
Mm.
They cared, because the people working, they want to take care of the crew members. And
yeah, that's good.
Royal Caribbean was pretty nice. And I worked for this Australian company. The crew mess food was not that great.
Mm.
But then I got promoted and I became an officer on the ship. And then the officer's mess was like fine dining.
Did you have to wear like a fancy
No.
officer uniform?
Even though I was a 2-stripe officer, I did not have to wear one of the.
So is that like it is in the military, where if you become an officer, you make so much more money than everybody else?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit more money. Definitely more privileges, because on a ship, it's like, you can't go here.
Yeah.
This is for, the peasants. This is for the officers. But it was a good time. One contract I came back just like shed, I just shedded. I played for 4 hours a night in a jazz trio. I came back just on top, I sounded great. I thought it was like the most chops, best playing I ever had. And then after the other one, oh god, I just fell off the wagon. I just wasn't practicing. You're playing the same show every night.
Yeah.
And I was more concerned with traveling and drinking and where are we? Oh, we're in Amsterdam today. And doing all that shit. And I came off that ship I felt like I was not sounding good at all. Not a good player.
I feel like that's, kind of transfers into the real world too. Like there's a balance. Like
there is.
Like there's people that you go through, at least for me, I go through phases like where there'll be months where I'll just be practicing a lot and I can like tell I'm getting a lot better. And then there's some times where like, like I'm moving or
sure,
like
or you got surgery.
Like traveling a lot, like sick, and then I can't practice as much, and it's just like comes and goes in waves, and it's like a weird balance.
It is a weird balance, and I just had my surgery.
Yeah.
I had carpal tunnel surgery, and I just started being able to play again like last week, and it starts to feel okay. I'm just wounded.
Yeah, you don't want to push it.
But I don't feel that confident. I feel like I'm still rocky, like training in the snow. Like I'm not ready, but I'm getting there.
I actually feel like, in my experience, there's like an amount of time where I can like take a break from practicing and I come back and I feel better than ever.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, there's like a fine line, like I take like a break for maybe like a week or so or something, and then
come back refreshed.
Yeah. But then like sometimes more, if you like go beyond that, it's like, oh, I feel like I have gotten worse.
Yeah. And the other thing is like people like you and me who play a lot of different kinds of music. Like we're not just jazz musicians, or we're not just playing in one band. It gets tricky trying to balance it. Like maybe you're playing a lot of classical percussion, and then you step over to the drum set and you're like, I feel rusty. Or vice versa.
Yeah.
You're playing a lot of jazz and then you go to sit in and play the Rite of Spring on a timpani.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck, I gotta work this up.
Oh yeah.
Because you're speaking the same language. You're doing the same thing. You're speaking, but it's just different languages, I feel.
Yeah.
I haven't worked on my Spanish that much lately.
I definitely felt that when we did that show with the symphony in May.
Oh yeah.
We did, we did like a side by side with the Air Force and the St. Louis Symphony.
Yeah.
You were in that one.
We did that twice.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of my favorite experiences in the Air Force band, when we got to play with the St. Louis Symphony musicians.
It's awesome.
And the Army guys came in too.
Yeah.
And we played in Powell Hall. It was just a great experience.
Yeah. But I asked if I could play timpani because I hadn't played, this past May I asked if I could play because we hadn't played concert band stuff in 2 years, and so I knew I would be rusty. But yeah, it was pretty scary when I first sat down and I started playing. It felt like I hadn't done it in years, and it took at least a week to be able to feel confident enough to.
So you worked on that shit for a week?
As much as I could within that week, yeah.
And it wasn't even that hard. It was just getting.
Yeah, some of my parts were kind of hard.
Yeah, some of the John Williams stuff.
Yeah, concert band timpani parts are notoriously more difficult than they need to be.
Were any of the STL percussionists there? Were they on that show?
Yep. I was the principal percussionist, who I have taken lessons with a number of times.
So you knew?
Yeah. And then there was a timpanist who was acting as the assistant timpanist. Yeah, really nice guy. He's a great guy. I think he's in the midst of trying to get some jobs right now, so
Sweet.
I'm sure he'll be successful. So.
Nice.
But yeah, I love doing that. Like you said, it's a very cool experience.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more into that. I mean, the best I feel like I could do right now at this point in time is community orchestras, which are fun.
Yeah.
But their commitment. And I still haven't decided. They've been emailing me if they want me to play this year. It's still hard.
Yeah.
It's still tricky.
So some of those symphonies are long. So
for sure.
If you're not like fully ready
yet. Yeah, and very hard. Like I remember last year we played Beethoven's Sixth with the storm. So you're doing the rumbling. Yeah. Like down low.
Yeah.
For like minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking last year, like, this is just hard. This is just like physically very, very hard. But a good piece of music.
Yes, totally.
So we haven't been doing it too much lately, but some of my solo stuff.
Yeah. I hope we can do some tomorrow.
We'll do some tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I got like these 10 to 15 songs that I feel really good about,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking to record, but it's just kind of one thing at a time.
Well, we recorded one.
We did record one.
I think it sounds
Check it
great.
out. It's on
Yeah.
Spotify. It does sound very good.
Mm-hmm.
Rick produced and engineered by Rick Wagner over at Gaslight Studios. It's on Spotify, YouTube, all the things. And then I just put up. I had it's like a jazz tune that I wrote. It's called Avant Garage, and I recorded like 5 years ago, and just realized never did anything with. But
Yeah.
sounds good. I think it sounds good. So I don't know. One thing at a time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get recording capabilities when you get to Colorado,
Okay.
so we can kind of do the tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can make that work. Yeah.
You got 4 rooms.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
4. One of them could be. One of them's got to be a drum room. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't know how you guys live sometimes. Just so much fucking gear.
Yeah.
I know have friends that rent out big storage units just so they can store their 3 bass drums.
Yeah. And
Susan and Grayson.
that's the eternal problem of being a drummer.
Eternal.
Is you either do I want to save money on rent or mortgage and get a smaller place?
Sure.
But then where do I practice?
Right.
Or it's like, do I push myself as far as I could go in terms of money to get a place that is the right size for me? So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I deal with the same thing. Certainly with the kind of car you decided to buy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not buying a Mustang.
No.
Like, I need something with a hatchback.
Yeah.
It's things that they don't really tell you when you start playing music.
Should have just played the flute.
How did you get into it, though? Like, I know you said you got into the playing timpani in college, but let's rewind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start on piano when you were a kid? Like,
I did.
What's the trajectory?
Yeah, I started on piano when I was 7.
Okay.
And did that.
Did you want to do it, or your parents make you do it?
I actually don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was maybe a little bit of both. My sister played piano for a little bit too,
Okay.
so I think that was just maybe like one of the things that people recommend their kids do when they're young, I guess.
And musical family?
No, God no.
Not at all.
Well, I have a cousin who's also a drummer.
Okay, but
Yeah.
not immediate.
No.
Oh yeah, what's his name again?
Yeah, Michael Chalker.
Michael in Nashville.
Yeah, great drummer. Plays on Broadway, tours all the time. Yeah.
We should talk a little bit about that Nashville music scene a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to digress from
Yeah.
the origin story. Okay.
Yeah.
So you started playing piano, not from a musical family, but
Mm-hmm.
you owned a piano. You had one in the house.
Yeah, they got one. Just a small, like, upright piano.
Okay, for the piano lessons.
Yes.
Sweet. So you started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
And then in 4th grade
Yeah.
was the time where we could be in an orchestra. So I was like, I want to do that. And so I played the cello for 1 year.
Oh shit.
And then,
So
I know.
Got some chops.
Maybe Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but that's it.
We might have to try that.
That's okay. Maybe
do that.
later.
I'll bust out the cello over here.
And then the next year I played viola. I don't know why I switched,
Ooh.
but I don't
Okay, were you renting these instruments, or are they
The
still out
school
there?
had them.
School had
Yeah,
them?
I didn't own any. Yeah, the school.
Okay, so you did cello, viola.
And
just
then
switching around.
6th grade was when we could be in band.
Aha.
And so I actually went into that thinking I wanted to play the euphonium for some reason.
Nice.
But I couldn't make a sound out of the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And then they asked, well, do you play piano? I said, yeah. They're like, we could use we don't have a percussionist.
Uh-huh.
And so I was the only percussionist in 6th grade. I was playing the little rinky dinky bell kit.
Yeah.
And I did 1 year of drum set lessons, but I feel like I didn't really retain any of that information.
Sure.
It was, just a lot of like, here's play a rock beat kind of thing, play some
Nice.
drum fills, yeah.
Were you? I mean, but you were also into pop music and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
were you listening? What were you listening to as like a 5th and 6th grader or
Oh,
7th
God.
grader?
Probably like NSYNC.
NSYNC.
Yeah.
She loves her Beyonce. We know that.
Yeah, I think that was before. I wasn't listening to Beyonce at that point.
Okay. So you playing drums to NSYNC tracks?
No, it was a lot of the drum teacher I had would write out, um, these songs that had, particularly cool drum stuff, like "Come Together" by the Beatles. I played that, and like, yeah, and then he would just write out like, 3 bars of a rock beat and then 1 bar of fill, and so it was a lot of like reading that stuff. So it wasn't, I didn't do like any playing along except for the Beatles tune. It was a lot of reading stuff he had written out. So
This was like high school.
This was 6th grade.
Sixth grade.
So it was just 1 year I did that.
And then you didn't take drum lessons from 6th grade onward till you get into the Air Force?
The next time I took drum lessons was 1 semester in undergrad.
Damn.
And then 1 semester in grad school.
That's crazy.
And the semester in grad school is where I really like lit a fire and like really progressed.
Okay.
And that's a huge testament to the teacher I had, Steve Houghton.
Okay, Steve Houghton. Now this is a question because somebody who went through grad school. Did you do the drum lessons at the beginning of grad school or at the end?
The end.
Yeah.
After I did my recital.
I front loaded hard in grad school. I did all the other shit like in the barrier exams and the
I was doing timpani
presentations
basically the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And then also world percussion.
So was it at the very last semester you took drum lessons?
Yeah, so I like got my recital out of the way, and I knew at that point I had actually met someone from the Air Force Band of America, Mike Correa.
Correa!
Yeah.
Correa's a good guy.
He's another drummer, yeah.
It's funny you mention that.
They were doing a recruiting thing at my school.
Yeah.
And he was good friends with one of my professors.
Yeah.
So I met him and talked to him, and I remember asking, like, do I need to know how to play drum set? And he was like, yeah, we won't hire you if you don't know how to play drum set. So then I decided, like, okay, I need to put the drum lessons at the end where I don't have any other commitments or anything, and I can just focus on that. And then 3 months after I graduated was when I got this job. So.
Okay, cool. So you knew you kind of wanted to go into the Air Force when you were in grad school.
Yeah, that was when I like really learned about it, and we had like.
Is that when you first learned about it?
Basically, I knew about Marine bands beforehand, but not Air Force bands.
Yeah, I remember finding out about it like in my last year of undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no fucking way that's a thing. There's no way.
Yeah,
I mean, well, that most people think they're like, there's no way that's a thing.
Yeah,
and
it was kind of and so at that point, and I'd also seen like 4 people from my school that had won jobs in the Air Force Band for percussion, so I had been able to talk to them too. And
sweet. So Correa did it. Yeah, honestly, Correa kind of coerced me because he was the auditions guy when I came down, and I auditioned with the Air Force and the Navy. Mm. So it was kind of like I could have gone either way, but I just thought Correa was very cool to me. He was just like a real down-to-earth person,
cool guy.
And that's what kind of drew me to it. The Navy seemed more like they were way more rigid during the whole process. Correa was just, hey man, it's cool. It's like, it's great. Man. We'll go out to Jimmy John's and sound great, like that kind of thing. So that was a sway. Mm-hmm. That's funny. Yeah, he's a good guy. Okay, so you got into band, and you're playing piano. You started with probably the mallets then too, a little bit later on. Started with the little bells.
Yeah. And
then mallets, and then really kind of came to a head when you picked up the timpani in college. Mm-hmm. Right? So, I mean, what other things do you like playing in the band? Like the chimes?
In my job now, or?
Yeah. Or in classical percussion, because that is such a crazy world that you guys live in.
Yeah.
Especially if you play the modern pieces. Like I've seen percussionists like build instruments.
Yeah.
So they can play pieces.
That was kind of my life in college. It was percussion ensemble, and it was a lot of, more modern stuff. Yeah, and man, I haven't done
Concerto
that in
for
so
woodblock.
long. Oh yeah.
Music concerto for
I'm laughing, but it's true.
It's true. I remember being in the audience, like sitting there. It's like this is a student composition for woodblock, and I'm like, what the fuck are you? This is what you want to do with your life?
I definitely, like, I appreciate that music, and there's, like, a lot of history behind it.
Yeah.
But logistically, it's just really time consuming.
Yeah, I think it's I always thought that it was the. I might get some shit for saying this, but it's very the composer stroking their own ego. When you get to something like that, I do think it's very cool. Like in the 20th century with the like the visual scores.
Yeah.
Like the George Crumbs and stuff. I think that shit is the coolest. You know, it almost looks like a painting or a piece of poetry. And there's a lot of interpretation to it too. You're like, you might see the music go swirling like this, and then just interpret it however you want to. They've
been bringing a lot of visual aspects into like more chamber ensemble pieces, which I think is really cool. I mean, it's like it's very. I think it's really important, like from an education standpoint, to be able to do that stuff.
Sure.
Because it's it's along a similar line to like playing just with like a combo. You know, you guys are playing together, and like percussion ensemble like has to know how to play together. And when you like see a group play that's like really locked in, and they sound amazing, like it's super impressive. But
it is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just not many outlets to do that post college.
I still think it's fascinating. Like, still to this day, you will see the Black Page by Frank Zappa performed on like classical percussion concerts.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into that one? You familiar with that piece?
I think I've heard it a couple times.
You've heard it a couple times? Mm-hmm. You know why they call it the Black Page?
No.
There's so many notes on the page. It's just going up and down and just black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely impressive, but like I said, the logistics of doing that stuff just from a percussion standpoint, it's not like being in a string quartet where you just have your instrument and your music stand and you walk in. Like,
sure,
it's hours before you even start rehearsing that you're moving gear and setting up, and it's PTSD.
It's dedication.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
that's amazing. So I'm asking you this because people ask me this all the time. Like, what's your favorite thing to perform out of everything that you do?
Oh, God.
It's an impossible question to answer. But
like, how specific do you want me to get?
As specific as you want.
I mean, I love playing. I mean, I think that in the end, the thing that brings me the most joy is playing with an orchestra. Which is sad to say because I don't do that for my job. But every so often I get the chance to do that. But even more so is getting to play a piece that has orchestra and then choir. Because I don't know why, I've always been really drawn to choir.
Yeah.
Like, I don't sing, but just, I've always just really loved listening to choral music.
Yeah.
Especially when it's with an orchestra. Like I got to do Mahler 2 once, That's a big one in that, it's just very beautiful.
Yeah, I did some Mozart. I think it was Magic Flute.
I love opera.
We did the Magic Flute, just not really stage production, but just the music, the orchestra, and then the choir.
Yeah.
It was powerful. It really was. I mean, there's something to it.
I'm one of the rare people that really loves listening to operas.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why. We did opera a lot at Indiana University, and great opera program, and so I love the combination of orchestra or band and then choir.
Yeah.
It's just really beautiful.
It is. I think some of my best memories playing have been playing operas in the pit. Pit operas, and there really is a lot of cool ones out there. You got any faves for the operas? Because, I mean, that's a whole... Yeah. That's probably... I mean, the opera is an older art form than the symphony.
Yeah, I love Peter Grimes. That's a newer one.
That's a newer one.
Yeah, by Britain.
Oh, Britain.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and then...
reading about that.
I mean, Carmen. I love that one, yeah.
It's great music.
We also did Madame Butterfly, which
Who wrote that?
Puccini?
Puccini, okay.
Maybe?
Let me look it up. I know, this is where we get this.
Yeah, I don't want to be wrong.
Puccini, huh?
I think it was Puccini.
So I saw, the one time I went to Russia, I don't know if I ever told you this, but we were in St. Petersburg. Madame Butterfly?
Yeah.
We were in St. Petersburg and Puccini.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We saw, me and a buddy of mine, Kevin Phillips, Scottish guy, we saw the Russian State Opera Company do Puccini's, not fucking Puccini, it's Verdi, La Traviata.
Oh, yeah.
Verdi's La Traviata. And it was incredible. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. I've seen a couple good ones in Chicago too, but yeah, those like romantic operas are nuts. And I think a life goal of mine is to see like the Ring Cycle.
I was just gonna say that just
has to be incredible.
That's a goal of mine, is to see the Met do the Ring Cycle, because every so often they'll do it, or at least see them put on one of Wagner's operas. Some of them are 6-7 hours long, so
I know
it's like a commitment. But
what a crazy dude!
Yeah,
all those guys. They were just different kind of humans back then. Mm-hmm. Musically, like he was the same way. I mean, he was like inventing instruments so you could play his music. There's just different breed of humans.
It's always been hard to comprehend how someone can write that much music.
I know.
Like, I can barely write, like, I never write music, but when I have to, it's like a couple bars and I'm already stuck. But they're writing hours worth of music.
Yeah.
And lyrics on top of that, if you're writing an opera.
Yeah. So you never got into writing?
No, I didn't.
Maybe it's the next step.
Yeah, I've always been notoriously bad at theory.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And especially, like, I think one of the regrets I have from college is that I never studied, like, jazz theory. Because I feel like I barely grasp normal theory. And then jazz theory, I feel like it's like... Mm-hmm. And now that I, like, play more jazz, obviously, you know, I'm not playing anything melodic, but I feel like it would help me to understand it more. But
yeah. I've always liked theory. Jazz theory is kind of like an interesting one, because there is like, you know, they wrote like, oh, this scale goes over this chord and blah blah blah. But really, I mean, it doesn't really mean all that much. Like the study guide for jazz is the recordings, like hands down, you know, and just really diving into that. And I made the mistake of thinking that like you can learn it in a book, but really it's through listening and practice and like feedback and study, you know. You ever read Miles Davis's autobiography?
No,
check it out. Yeah. It's just like a crash course in just jazz history, and
I should
not too much theory, but just like the theory is the attitude, you know. And he points you into, I think in jazz theory you gotta have the example to support your claim. You're like, this is an example of a 2-beat feel, or this is an example of a 2-beat feel going into a 4-beat feel. It's like, okay, well, what's your recording? You know, you can't just tell a kid that this is what you do. Yeah. You gotta have like, okay, this happened on Miles Davis's Cookin' album, this track. Yeah. You know, you always gotta have a model, as Steve Owen said. Like, make a claim, but have your evidence to support it. And that evidence is like recordings. Charlie Parker and all this shit.
That's something that my professor did really well. Steve Houghton.
In what, drum set?
Yes. Like, he just had, like, he had this education, I don't know if you can call it, like, a formula, basically just, like, his way of teaching that would just continuously churn out these amazing drummers, you know, even, like, from beginners all the way up to people who had been playing for 10, 20 years already that would come and study with him, because he had examples for everything. And he'd write these books, and they'd always have play-along tracks to them, and he'd take from, like, previously recorded stuff, and it wasn't just like, okay, you're going through a book. Here's the 2-beat feel, you know. He's
Sure.
like, you know, you got to play it along now.
Yeah.
And it's just like whatever he does just really works, and it's because of the listening aspect of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to talk to you about drummers, because I don't think we've ever really done that, but who out of all the drummers, like, who, without thinking too hard, like, who are your main players that you just remember the first time hearing them, and like your ears perked up, like, holy shit, like, what is this? And I want to get into it, like, down to the root of it.
Mel Lewis is one of them.
Mel Lewis.
And that was someone that,
great.
when I was working with Steve
Yeah.
Hoffend,
Uh-huh.
he was helping me get ready to play in the big band, and he gave me 6 of his CDs.
Mel Lewis.
Yeah, from his big band, and I just put them on my phone, and then I would listen to them and play along with them all the time. And it wasn't like anything crazy. Like, I feel like, especially these days, you see these drummers that just have insane chops.
Right.
And it's like hard to keep up with them, but like listening to Mel Lewis, it was just listening to his feel.
He's got great feel. That band does seem pretty bombastic to me. Like, I've always loved it. Like, Richard Davis was bass player in that band for a long time.
Yeah.
And he just sometimes just like it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was really passionate.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was just and great experimental tunes. Like, I do love the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Orchestra. Always have.
Mm-hmm.
So Mel Lewis.
Yes.
Good answer.
I mean, well, we mentioned Nate Smith.
Nate Smith. Okay,
Yeah.
modern.
Yeah, that's a
Still
big
alive
one.
today.
I feel like I always struggle with this question because I feel like since I started playing drums like later than would have been expected for someone to be in the job that I am in now, like, I kind of missed the opportunity to really dive into a lot of different drummers.
Sure, you were studying Rite of Spring timpani pieces when you weren't listening to.
But then when I was like taking lessons for that one semester, a lot of it was just like more basic stuff. Like, I was playing catch up almost. And he was like, they were throwing recordings at me, and I was listening to things and playing along all the time, but I never got the chance to really dive into anybody specific. So that's a question I've always struggled with. I feel like I probably have a lot of drummers that I've gravitated towards. I just have been listening to so many, it's hard to keep track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always been pretty picky about that. Like, I don't know, I like all the classic ones, but I just feel like, I mean, without thinking too hard, it would be amazing to play with Philly Joe Jones.
Yeah.
I just think that Philly Joe Jones, he was the shit. Like, he really was amazing. And Elvin, too. Elvin, Tony Williams, it's like all that stuff. And the people that are still alive today, like Jack DeJohnette and like Roy Haynes, it's just like the names are endless. Like, and okay.
I've taken a lot of Brush's inspiration from Jeff Hamilton.
Jeff Hamilton.
I've listened to a lot of Jeff Hamilton.
So, okay, this is another thing I wanted to talk about, because the relationship between a bassist and a drummer is so crucial, like fundamentally important. And I've had people ask me, like, well, what is the difference between when this guy plays or this person plays, and you know, they're all playing with each other. And bassists and drummers, at least, we don't talk about it too much, about actually how we feel the music. We just do it. But how I always answer that question is like, well, if you take like Paul Chambers and Philly Joe Jones, you're going to get a different result than, say, Ron Carter and Tony Williams. Yeah. And the feel's going to be different, the energy's going to be different. And I think the big thing for me is like where the time sits. Yeah. You know, some people tend to rush, or some people tend to lay back or sit right in the middle. Yeah. Like, as a bass player, I feel Paul Chambers, he pushes. Philly Joe, I feel like he pushes. You know, so you get that result. It's kind of always they both have this moving forward quality. Yeah. Whereas, say, like Ron Carter, to me, he plays right in the middle of the beat, where Tony pushes. So you get that kind of push and pull thing.
Yeah.
And also, like, Elvin has been known, I think a lot of times I hear him, he tends to lay the swing back, whereas Jimmy Garrison is kind of right in the middle of the beat. There's always just weird combinations, these sonic combinations.
Yeah.
It's how I kind of describe it. And if you really, like, put on headphones and, like, listen to the consistency of the music, like, you can kind of hear it.
Yeah.
Like the quarter note with the ride cymbal with the hi-hat and the whole thing.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that when I've played with, a variety of different bass players. Like, some people are consistently ahead, and some people are we're right together, and then sometimes it sways a little bit. So
sure,
yeah, it's interesting,
and it does sway. And I think if you're aware of it, you can kind of alter it depending on who you're playing with or how you want the music to feel.
Yeah,
but it's an ever evolving thing. Like, here's the beat from here to here. It's like, where are you gonna fit?
Yeah.
In that whole array. What about me? What do you think? Where do you think I fall? I feel like I tend to push a little bit, or at least historically.
I mean, I was gonna say that anyways. Like, just thinking about when we played, I know that there are definitely a lot of times where I will lay back when I'm playing swing, but you never falter on your tempo, which I appreciate.
I don't?
No, you don't.
Did you hear that? Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's kind of.
Yeah, you're I feel like you've always been really good at even if you hear me kind of laying back a little bit, you don't necessarily come with me too much.
Right.
Whereas especially when I was first starting out, some bass players I'd play with, I would notice that we would get to the end of tune and I'd be like, oh wow, I was slowing down a lot, but
and
they went with me, which is it is what it is. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but
no, and I think it's always better to rush a little bit instead of fall back,
especially when you're heading up a big band. I learned that the hard way, when I first started with this.
I mean, big band's drummers drive the ship, but the bass player's telling them where to go. It's we're going here, you know, this is the speed limit. I don't know. I always feel the best, I don't know, bass players, because it's so hard to be heard, you really got to work to get a sound.
Yeah.
Whereas drummers, you don't have to do anything. Your issue is the opposite. You're like, how do I play quieter?
Yeah.
Where with bass players, it's always like, how do I get a bigger, stronger sound? And a lot of times it just comes with we're right here.
Yeah.
This is where we're at.
I appreciate that,
Most drummers do.
Yeah. To an extent. There have been times where, I feel like in a lot of the different groups I've had to play with, you have to be really confident about the tempo.
Sure.
And especially playing with a rock or pop group.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you have a bass player who is continuously pushing, you gotta hold your own a little bit. But in terms of especially with a big band, I really appreciate when the bass player really holds their own.
Yeah.
And leads it.
Well, I mean, we've played together a long time now. It's just amazing how fast it went, but it's 4 years. And, it's kind of crazy because we are going to be apart from each other, and we have been tight, and then, you got tight with Aaron, and, you're just a good family friend. So it's going to be wild. Definitely going to miss you. I know the whole city of St. Louis is going to miss you.
Thank you.
And I speak as a representative, saying that the city of St. Louis and the music scene in particular going to miss having you around. Do you have last thing I wanted to talk about? We don't need to go too much into this, but yeah, the Nashville scene. What are your big thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a whole other world.
It is a world. I never really experienced it like I did, because I just went really for the first time a month ago to dive in.
Yeah.
And just witness that. It's its own thing. It's like Disney
Yeah.
World, but way more debauchery.
Country music.
From
an outsider's perspective, and I have family that has moved down there to be a working musician. It was really cool to see, my cousin Michael be able to do that, because he was completely self-taught drummer. and
yeah,
came from a super small town in Michigan, was playing with like a hip hop artist or something, and then just started playing with a country group and decided I want to like make this move. And within like 2 or 3 months, he was getting calls on Broadway. There's so much music down there. There's
every place,
every day,
every hotel, every restaurant, every fucking
from
club,
11 to 2 a.m.
Even the people on the street corners are playing. Like it. From they were starting because I stayed at a hotel right downtown, the Moxie, and they had music at 8 a.m. in the lobby. It was everywhere. Yeah. And I like that. I really did like that. It was a lot of the same shit. You're playing a lot of the same shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like, some people move down there to work on Broadway and they love it and do it for forever.
Right. Well, it's like you're going to work and you're bringing the hammer. Yeah. You're like, I'm coming in and I'm being a carpenter. I'm putting up this. Yeah, exactly. These windows, like the window trim. I'm not fucking around. Yeah. I'm going to work and I'm bringing my tools to work and I'm going home at the end of the day.
Yeah, and just the fact that there is a town where people are able to do that. Move there and play music for a living.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, whether or not it's like what they really want to be doing every day, like they're still getting to play music. So I think that's super impressive. But.
Yeah, I think last time I went down there, I was thinking like, okay, what if I did this as a young lad? Like
I considered it too.
Fresh out of college or fresh out of high school even.
Yeah.
Because it was never an option to me. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to school and then I'm moving out west and then I'm maybe cruise shipping, military. Mm-hmm. And now here I am in St. Louis, local boy does good. But, going down to Nashville, like I could see myself going down here and just, getting in a cover band. And
you'd do well there. You'd probably be a first call for recording, too. That's a big thing down there, also.
Would be cool.
Yeah.
It was kind of amazing. There was these people... You could see, especially the rhythm section players, that you show up and there's the band, but like the bassist and the drummer is just some old guy. Yeah. Just been doing this for 30, 40 years. Yeah. And I'm just hunched over in my chair, and I'm not playing anything crazy. I'm not playing anything that makes you go, wow. Yeah. But I know every fucking tune you'll call. What do you want to play? What's next? Leonard Skinner, this tune. Tennessee Whiskey. I know it. I know it all. Yeah. And that was kind of fascinating to me to live in that world. Because, there's that repertoire. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
It's a great town. And I do think that you do feel the strong influence in St. Louis, like from Nashville.
Yeah, definitely.
You get, St. Louis is really cool because it's right in the middle of all these great music towns like New Orleans, Nashville, Memphis, Chicago, Kansas City. Yeah. It's just right in the middle.
And this is a great music town.
It is. Yeah. It is. But I feel it takes a little bit from every place. Like you get some of the electric blues element from Chicago and certainly the jazz from New Orleans and down south.
Oh, yeah.
In Kansas City. And blues from Memphis. It's just in country from Nashville.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
It's a great city.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? Like, you're gonna miss this place. Yes. Place is gonna miss you.
Yes.
You're always welcome back.
Oh yeah, I'll totally come back to visit.
Yeah, and thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
We did it. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
The whole point with this podcast thing is musicians never really talk too much about some of the stuff, especially how we feel the music. At least I don't. People like you and I would show up on the gig, and it's like, oh hey, how's it going? Hey Drew Lance, haven't seen you in a couple weeks. It's like, let's play this gig. Like, all right, sounded great. Like, see you later. Yeah. And I don't know. I kind of want to open up the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, you should definitely keep this going.
And if anybody is interested, they can watch whatever.
Yeah.
But any closing thoughts?
Thanks for having me. Then the beer was
great.
Okay,
cool. Yes. Yeah, I'll have more. Yeah. Next time you come stop by. But this has been fun. Yeah. Thank you for watching, everybody. This has been the first episode of Duo with the Dust. That's what I'm calling it.
It's a
Duo
good
with
name.
the Dust.
Yeah.
And what a great audience. We'll catch you on the flip side. Later, everybody.